Sideways.
We're on. Welcome to the Ben and Lauren Show. I'm Ben, and this is Lauren, and here we are, Saturday night. Another,
Really late.
another really late start again.
Well, it's because we dug the
So,
Wii game out of
what time
storage.
is it?
It was 12:20 last I looked.
We were playing the Wii with the girls. We're borrowing my mom and dad's Wii game system, and our little Abigail and Susanna really like the bowling game.
They enjoyed making new me's, is what they were really stuck on.
Abigail liked the bowling game. She says she wants to play more of it. And they like the little Wii Me characters. So we
Make
played that.
Daniel! Make Susanna!
So we ended up doing that and still, and then we had to get the kids to bed.
Well, I started by giving them a bath at 8 o'clock. I figured we'd have them in bed early.
So yeah, that's why we're getting a late start here. But here we are.
I did take a video too of the snow that we got today.
Hmm.
We got our first reasonably good snowstorm of the year today.
And I got a little bit of shoveling done after dark. I got the just enough to make a path over to next door. I wonder how the audio is. Guess we'll never know.
I guess we'll find out later. Hopefully better than it was before. Last week I figured out that we never had the Bluetooth microphone at all, so we were picking up with the iPad microphone, which leaves like a staticky sound. We
Yeah.
have more sound trouble.
Well, we are borrowing something from the sister. It's this.
The sister?
The sister. I'm not going to
One of
mention
our many
one of our
sisters.
many sisters. I'm not going to mention names. But we didn't really have a chance to plug this in. We have to get an adapter for it to work with our iPad. But hopefully this will give us some really good audio next time, next Ben and Lauren show.
We'll see. If it works, we might get one.
Hmm.
Because we're getting tired of messing with silly microphones.
Well, the one on the iPad doesn't work that well, and we're discovering that these are just meh.
Well, they work really well if you have one person. It's hard when you have two people because of the whole it turns off.
You also don't get much of the lower tones. You get mostly kind of higher tones. It doesn't
Right.
sound right.
I think that's why you often come across quieter unless we make sure your mic is on.
Right. So my
Except for
mic's always
Bryce.
on. She goes through my mic. It seems to work pretty well.
Yeah, it does.
So tonight we're just kind of stayed inside all day. Very snowy, very cold out, and drinking lots of tea.
My aunt gave us some very pretty new teacups, which I think it's funny to watch Ben drinking out of them because my papa had a thing where if you tried to give him tea in a pretty cup, he would
I
complain that it's a pretty cup. I can't drink tea out of a pretty cup.
can
I'm
drink
a
tea
man.
out of a pretty cup.
That's because you have a beard.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you didn't have a beard, then, as Gillette pointed out, you might not be really truly masculine. So you can drink tea out of a flowery cup.
All right. I do not own any Gillette razors, to my knowledge.
Well, I might have thrown them out if we did because I wouldn't want anything harming your masculinity. I like you just the way you are.
Thank you. That was before it was full disclosure. We assumed that Gillette was, the best the man can get, but no.
Well, no, you didn't assume that because you don't have any Gillette razors. You went with their competitor, Dollar Shave Club.
Oh, that's right. I did.
That, anyway, most of you're not using anyway because
Well, you gotta, tidy up down here. Anyway.
it was quite a week. It was quite a week for watching what's going on in the wide, wide world, and really, it was a week to, get a bucket of popcorn and sit back and watch watch
We
the
we had fun
show.
with politics today. Um, yeah, we normally try to keep our electronics off for the day, but we couldn't resist. There's the 3 o'clock Donald Trump speech. We wanted to know what he had to say, and we turned it on and had to wait about an hour before it actually started. But when we actually heard what he had to say, I thought it was very interesting. I don't know. What was your takeaway from it?
Well, he did pretty much what I thought he was going to do. A lot of people keep talking about, oh, there's going to be this big announcement. I thought it was funny that the guy who was doing the live stream was talking about the room that the live stream was being done in as if, or the broadcast was being done in, as if he's going to make some major announcement.
Yeah.
And I thought, no, he's just making sure that whatever he has to say comes from him. And so the next step in this negotiation, he's making sure everyone hears his offer because he knows if he tries to go in a room without a camera and give the offer, no one will ever tell the truth about the offer he gives.
Hmm.
So his negotiating tactic, I think, has become
Make
make
sure
sure everyone hears it
everyone's heard
from
it.
him.
And we did. We heard everything was laid out on the table. And basically, we know, he knows, everyone knows.
His
Question is, will it be taken?
No, it's going to be mocked and laughed at, and really, it shouldn't be
No.
because he offered to extend DACA, which is a big deal to Democrats. And
At some point, the people who really want this stuff are going to say, just give them the money for the
I
wall.
did notice that the price of the wall went up.
Yeah,
It
we
was
noticed that too.
5.6 billion, now it's 5.7
Remember
billion.
that famous line, the wall just got 10 feet taller?
I think it did to make that much. I mean, it doesn't sound like much, one point in that point billions of dollars. That's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. What was it? It was 5.2, now it's 5.8. Plus, it's got all sorts of other stuff that they want.
My takeaway is that Donald Trump is doing what he's done all along. He is trying his best to bypass the media, which has crippled all other Republican presidents, and go straight to people,
Mm-hmm.
unfiltered, which can be bad and it can be good, but mostly I think it gives us the impression that we're getting a look at the real thing.
Mm-hmm.
It does not feel too stage managed in many ways.
Right. I thought it was very interesting. We were all, waiting to see if he was going to do some kind of big emergency.
I was hoping he wouldn't.
We're just going to build it. We're tired of waiting. Just get this taken care of. But he knows he can't do that.
Well, after that masterful move with Nancy Pelosi's airplane, I'm beginning to admire his tactics.
Politics are getting fun these days.
Well, some of it's really, really bad, and it's going to be a rough year.
It is.
But the airplane thing, it killed so many birds with one stone. It made everybody wonder, why is Nancy Pelosi going overseas?
So to explain basically what happened was first it started with Nancy Pelosi sending a letter to the president requesting.
No,
No,
telling him.
it was requesting to please move your State of the Union address until after the shutdown. And then after that, he was notified that basically the House would not be available for him to do the speech. He was kind of disinvited. There was no formal invite. So meanwhile, she's Nancy Pelosi and what was it, 7 Democrats plus a total of
It
93,
was families and extended family members. Yeah,
93 people were going on this
93
trip.
people were going on a trip overseas
So
for a
they were
week.
not only going to go overseas, they were going to go to, I think, about 5 or 6 different destinations. No agenda. Nobody really knows exactly what they were going to do.
I did notice that Brussels was on the list, which is very
Brussels?
peculiar.
So why exactly does the Speaker of the House and their entire families need to go
And a bunch of
to
other
Europe
Democrats.
and the Middle East during the shutdown? What's that all about? So,
And I'm pretty sure the Speaker of the House is not really supposed to be involved in foreign relations.
no,
That's the
no, she's
Secretary of
domestic.
State's job. She's supposed to be here. I
She's
don't,
supposed to be
why
totally
was she
domestic.
doing a European tour?
There's absolutely no reason for her to do that. And I think Donald Trump probably felt the same way. So he said, no, we're basically not going to provide a military escort or military use of the plane to go to on this trip.
She had requested the use of 2 Gulfstream jets.
Very expensive jets.
That is an expensive plane ride.
Hmm.
And they
I
were
think they
taking 93
estimated
people on 2 Gulfstream jets.
it was,
It's like $14,000 an hour to run one of those jets.
that's ridiculous.
So he saved a lot of money. He pointed out very clearly how she was running off basically on a vacation at the time when she's making this big fuss about 800,000 people not getting their paycheck. She's not willing to stick around and bargain to get their paycheck back. She's leaving. And then he also made everybody wonder, what is she doing? What is she
Yeah,
going off to Europe and
what
Afghanistan?
exactly, and I still wonder, what exactly is she
What
doing?
was she up to?
She probably was trying to do an apologetics tour, and just apologizing for the US.
I think, Ben, I seriously think she's third in line for the presidency. I think their plan is they want to impeach Trump, and then they're going to their plan is to impeach Pence as being an accessory to whatever they impeach
That's
Trump
been
for.
their plan all along.
And she thinks she's going to be the first woman president, and she's going off to establish foreign relations base.
Yeah, she's already getting a leg up.
She's trying to position herself to be president in the next year.
President Pelosi.
Oh my goodness.
Excuse me.
May it never be.
May it never be.
Anyway, that's
On
our
to
politics for
more
the night.
cheerful topics.
What else did we do this week? I made a list.
Well, my grandma came into town. Actually, my parents picked up my grandma Turner, and we got to spend some time with her, and she got to spend some time with our girls and my boy, our boy.
I feel like we're very disinteresting company when she comes and visits because we get together and then we basically sit around and watch the kids play.
Yeah, but I think that's what,
And I was
that's,
thinking, well, I wish we were being a little more interesting company. And Ben said, I think that's what Grandma enjoys.
yeah.
That she likes to see them and she likes seeing them doing normal things. And I hope so, because otherwise it would have been a pretty
And
boring
I think
visit.
my mom kind of likes, entertaining the girls and just watching them, and
That
they
was,
can be entertaining. You put some music on and they'll start dancing. They'll sing and dance, and
well, I think it's kind of entertainment only a mother could love. Well, maybe a grandmother.
I suppose. So that was nice. We enjoyed that. And what else
Uh,
did we do this week?
well, we covered some of it. We dug out the wheat console.
We went to see a movie this week, didn't we? Was that last week?
Oh, yeah, we went. Your mom took us to see Mary Poppins Returns.
We haven't been to a movie theater in a very long time.
Our children have never been to a movie theater.
Yeah, we're not moviegoers very often.
And we had two big dramatic events because we left Daniel home
Oh
with
yeah.
Nova. And the girls were beside
We
themselves.
left little Daniel home, and Abigail and Susanna were both just beside themselves. They were, you got to bring Daniel. You can't go anywhere without Daniel.
How can
Well,
you leave Daniel home?
and we did. He was good for Papa.
Huh?
So we went to see Mary Poppins
Returns.
Returns, the new Mary Poppins. And I guess my review on it was I didn't enjoy it that much. I mean, it was. Let me take that back. I didn't not like it. There were elements of it that I did like. I liked that they recreated all of the old scenes from the original movie from London. The I thought the actors were decent. It was good acting. I thought that the songs were pretty unremarkable. I thought it was a little bit over the top with the fantasy sequences. Um,
There's this one scene with Meryl Streep playing some weird
I
Russian
left.
woman.
I left during that part.
Yeah, I think Elena had kind of had enough for a
Yeah,
bit, and Ben took her out and kind of walked up and
I
down.
didn't miss that much.
It feels to me like Disney cannot write a new story to save their lives.
It reminds me of the Star Wars movie, Episode 7.
Yeah, where if you deconstruct it, they basically just took the original and slapped a new veneer on it and said, okay, it's a new movie.
And and on a surface level, everything's correct about it. The acting is correct, the storyline makes sense. Everything's sort of just is par for the course. It all meets the minimum requirements, but there's nothing exceptional about it. Would you say there was anything really exceptional about Mary Poppins Returns? That's a no.
I don't really think so.
The special effects,
The special effects were interesting, but I wouldn't have necessarily said exceptional. Um, the music was good, but again, not
not
exceptional.
memorable. I couldn't really remember any of them.
Maybe part of it is we just have been watching so few movies.
Maybe that's it.
I haven't really had a desire to watch any movies lately. I mean, I see the trailers and I don't really want to watch them most of the time.
Considering we don't watch a lot of movies, maybe we're not the best film critics out there.
Well, here, I thought they did a very serviceable job trying to add to something, but what they're essentially doing, and it feels like they're doing it, is they're making a franchise.
Mhm.
And Mary Poppins is a movie that a lot of people know inside out and backwards, and so I think they just spent the whole movie kind of paying tribute to
Yeah.
all the things that people like about it. And they were very careful to structure the movie so it kind of almost exactly followed the pacing of the original, but that meant that the story felt like it was a movie in search of a plot
Yeah.
in a way. And it isn't that they didn't have a plot, it just felt like that.
It was probably better in the theater than watching it like on a DVD.
Right, at least in the theater, you've got kind of the spectacle of seeing it in the theater. And I
I thought
do
the girls would be kind of scared of the movie, but they did pretty well.
They did well. Yeah.
There was one sequence that was kind of scary with it's kind of an animated. They got kind of a bad guy there and
They tried to invent a bad guy.
sort of an intense
They made
chase.
Colin Firth a bad guy.
Yeah.
It's like he's not totally suited to be bad guy.
No, he's a very nice bad guy.
Yeah, kind of.
It's hard to not like that guy.
Let's see what else happened this week. Um, I gave Abigail her first piano lesson.
Yeah, I heard it. It was pretty good.
So now I put one little piece of tape on the piano to denote middle C. And Abigail looked at her piano book and figured out all the other letters, and now there's tape all over the piano. All the other notes are named. That's a very Abigail thing to do.
Yeah.
And we got some honey in the mail.
Yes, we did. We didn't want to do it too late. Hold on just a second. Ad lib for a minute.
Okay, I'll add that.
All right.
So we
Hold
got
this a
this
minute.
honey from Hebrew Housewife. She's a blogger on Steemit, and she asked us a while back if we were interested in some honey, and we said yes. And we weren't sure of all the details, but it turns out that it sounds like they have a beekeeper who has bees in there. I don't know if it's on their property or whatever, but they have honey that's made from their sunflower field that they got from the beekeeper. And she asked us for our address so she could send us some. And I'm thinking it's going to be like a little jar of honey, and it comes in the mail, and it feels like she
Huge.
sent us a half gallon of honey. I feel
It's a
part of
lot
me
of
feels
honey.
a little bad because I'm hoping that their family gets some.
I hope so too.
But anyway, we opened it up and we unboxed it. We made a video of that, but we didn't taste test it because we were kind of saving it
You
for
can look on the
tonight.
bottom there. I don't know if that's crystallization or it looks like pollen.
I think it's either wax or pollen.
Maybe
It's
wax.
product of the honey. I'm pretty sure it's raw honey.
How we know it's real. It all kind of sank down to the bottom.
So we've been looking forward to trying this for several days, and I had a batch of yogurt that I was making, and
Mm-hmm.
since we typically eat our honey on yogurt, we figured we would try it.
And I didn't snitch any at all.
We did smell it, and it smells a lot like the sunflower seeds do before you roast them, kind of a little bit like corn.
I'm going to get a little generous with the honey because that's what we're
We're
tasting
supposed to
here.
be tasting the honey.
All
Yeah.
right, you want to hold that a second? I'll put this away.
So when we smelled it, that's what it really reminded us of was the raw sunflower. So
Is
you
there two
can
spoons or just one spoon?
just one. You
No.
can definitely tell that it's sunflower honey.
All right, so Greek yogurt with sunflower honey along with it.
Hmm.
Cheers.
You try first,
Okay.
and then you can think it over, and I'll try it.
Mm.
I'll put this down before I spill that.
Wow. That's fantastic. You know how
It is
some
very, very good.
you know how some honey has that really sharp taste to it? This is really mild.
Mhm.
It's got a very mild, pleasant flavor to it.
It's very, very sweet. Some honey has a little bit of a like a bitter, almost molasses taste.
Mm-hmm.
Like coffee flour honey, we tried that, and it did have a molassesy taste.
Mm-hmm.
This is very light and sweet.
Mm.
I don't know that I would have known that it
It's
was.
fantastic.
If you smell it, you can tell it's sunflower honey, but if I were to just taste it, I'm not sure I would know that's what it was.
Yeah, we were smelling it. It's got kind of a
Yeah, it smells like the raw sunflowers, like when you yeah, when you strip the seeds out of the flower head. They have a smell. I always think it reminds me of corn a little bit.
it's probably the first sunflower honey I've ever tried, actually.
Well, it's very good.
It's quite good.
It's excellent. Now I have to make sure that we save it for special things and that it does not go into bread. It has to go on into tea or onto Greek yogurt. So we really appreciate that gift. And like I said, I really hope their family gets to have some because that's a gigantic bottle of honey they sent us.
Well, as Susanna would say, 2 thumbs up.
And then she would say it's super, super good.
Super, super good.
Yeah, it's very tasty. I gotta restrain myself from eating the whole bowl because the camera's still on.
Well, I tell you what, you can talk about something interesting while I eat the rest of it.
About the fact that I've been trying to avoid eating a lot of sugar.
And I'll try to do it semi off camera.
You've got the mic.
Oh, okay.
So I have to talk right into your ear while you're eating, or else you can just do this, and then I become mic'd. We just have to remember that that's the case.
Well, good, so they don't have to listen to
Let's see, what else do we have on our list? Oh, Torah portion this week.
Yes.
It was the Red Sea, the crossing of the Red Sea Torah portion.
We got the exciting moment when the Red Sea parts in two and the children of Israel pass through. And take it from there. I'm going to finish this and then I'll pick it up.
Well, we departed a little from our normal noticing about households this week. What we noticed this week is that the people of Israel left Egypt on a path where they were heading on the trade route, and they were expecting to go up over the top of the Sinai Peninsula and come down into Canaan because that's the way the trade route went. But as they got up to the tip of the peninsula, God directed Moses to turn back, go into the wilderness where there's this real mountainous region, and go down to a little spur of land called Pi Hahiroth. And he said to Moses, when you do this, Pharaoh is going to know that you're in this spot. He's going to find out where you are, and he's going to think, at last the Israelites have trapped themselves, and he's going to come after you.
He also says God will harden his
God
heart.
is going to harden his heart, and he is going to come and try to reclaim the slaves. So God gave Moses warning ahead of time that he was causing the Israelites to walk into what would appear to be a trap. And what's interesting about that is that most like movies of the event or things that show this story happening make it seem as if Moses is caught off guard just like everybody else. Nobody expects Pharaoh to be after them. The truth is, God told Moses ahead of time that not only was Pharaoh going to come after him, but that it was a trap and he was going to get rid of Pharaoh. And I guess what I found significant about that was not only did God reassure Moses, but that God had said in other places in the Bible he does not do anything without telling somebody that he's doing it so that they can see what he's doing.
And that's comforting for us, meaning that he's not going to do something totally that no one's never been told before. It's going to be something that has been indicated ahead of time. And I think
I'm going to turn you back on.
The audio. And I think that's where the danger of false prophets really come in, because if you believe and listen to false prophets, they're going to give you information that presumably comes from God. And when it doesn't happen, it can cause damage to one's faith, because you put your trust in the words of a man who's claiming to speak on behalf of God. And when it does not come to pass as expected, then you lose both faith in the man, and it can damage your faith with God.
It can, but I guess, yeah, there's a danger of false prophets, but the other thing that I was thinking of is that a lot of times when we try to take a look at prophecies that God's given, especially when it comes to things like perhaps like Messiah coming back, we say, well, in the end, nobody really knows the day or the hour, nobody knows the time, nobody knows what's going to happen, so there's really no use figuring it out. But the truth is that God does not do things without telling his people, at least somebody, hey, pay attention, I'm doing this.
Yeah. And the writers of the New Testament seem to talk as if they do have an idea, at least, of when he's coming back. Maybe it was not exactly when they didn't exactly set dates. I don't think they marked their calendars and said, okay, he's going to come back this day. But I think they had a general idea, because you're not in darkness.
Right.
You very well know that he's going to come as a thief in the night. Like, oh, okay, we know that.
Well, so what I found interesting though was I had never noticed before that God very clearly told Moses, hey, this is what's going to happen, and I'm setting a trap for Pharaoh.
hmm And that means that if there's a second Exodus, I think the same thing's going to happen. Somebody is going to be notified ahead of time and have the whole plan laid out.
I
And
hope so.
yeah, we hope so. But the trick is to discern what is true, what is accurate, what is discern very carefully, because there are false prophets out there that will say, okay, God spoke to me, now we all need to go here. It's like, well, Yeshua also warned us, I'm not going to be hanging out in the desert. I'm not going to show up in the secret places.
Well, that's not exactly what he said. He said if someone says, go out to the desert, or he's appeared here in such and such a place.
Just don't go start following people off into these places. I'm not going to show up like that. When I come, it's going to be known. Like the lightning that goes from the east to the west. It's not going to be a question.
It's going to be obvious.
It's going to be very obvious.
I also think that that's where, what was it John who advised testing the spirits of things?
Right.
I think that one of the way that you test the spirit of something is that you remember that God really does talk to people, but that what he says is very clear and it very obviously comes to pass.
Right. There's no question.
There is no question. God said to Moses, go this way, and when you do, I'm going to harden Pharaoh's heart, and this is going to happen.
And especially in hindsight, when you look back, and it's like, wow, that happened exactly the way they said. I mean,
It happened the way God said.
Yeah, it didn't deviate in any way. So hindsight is always 2020. I'd vote for him. If I saw
For
hindsight,
hindsight.
if I saw hindsight on the ballot,
2020.
I would vote for him. Hindsight 2020.
Okay, you got me.
That is a Ben original.
I think that was all I had on the list for tonight, and I think we're up to 25 minutes.
Yep. So I want to say goodnight to everybody. I want to say a special thank you to Heber Housewife for supplying this delicious honey. We will enjoy it. I would venture a guess it's going to make cameos in future videos. We like our honey.
And I did take a video as promised for our friends in Arkansas because it snowed at their house today and it snowed at our house today, and I said I'd put a movie clip in. I don't know if we're going to attach it to the Ben and Lauren show or we'll put it on YouTube separately, but I did take a little video of how much snow we have outside. It's not anything epic, but it is more than what they get, I think.
We'll probably do it a separate video. Makes
Okay.
it easier.
Anyway,
So it has been a great show tonight. Say goodnight, Lauren.
good night, Lauren.
She always does that. Good night.
Good night.